morning. Well, on Better Preparedness today, we're going to be talking about, well, bear safety, and namely black bears. So stay tuned. We've got lots of great stuff coming up. Thanks for watching.
Let's talk bear safety. When you're in much of Canada and the northern U.S. and Alaska, black bears are just a reality. They're here. They're everywhere in the bush, especially in the forest and dense forest land, and as you get away from the cities, there are black bears. So you can either not go into the forest, not go into the outdoors and enjoy yourself, or you can just kind of come to a happy compromise. And when you are in bear country, there are a lot of things you can do to, well, help improve your chances of a fine encounter. I guess my take on an encounter with a black bear is one where maybe you see the black bear, quite often you don't, and nothing ever happens. Now, you do hear the occasional story. Every summer you hear of a few incidents that happen to people who are camping, or maybe they're hunting, or they're out hiking or mountain biking or whatever. You hear of a very few cases of things that have happened. And now, not to diminish those, and those are tragic, and I still recall, I try to learn from those ones, whatever I can learn, information I can learn. But there are thousands and thousands of encounters between humans and black bears that end fine. For me, the ending fine means nobody was hurt, or there was no risk to the human. So let's talk a few points that can help make your encounters more safe. Now, these are just my opinions. These are my opinions after years of hanging out in bear country, and I've certainly had my fair share of bear encounters. I've never had one go bad, so that's a good thing. But let's talk a few points that can help make your encounters go better. Now, first and foremost is you don't want to attract bears to you, and that means garbage, food, and so on. So if you're camping, and if you're car camping, you would put your food in the car. If you're canoe camping or hiking or bike touring, that becomes a little bit tricky. So there's techniques of tying your food up into the tree with ropes and so on, and you can get bear barrels, which are these contraptions to store your food in that bears cannot get into. They can get into coolers and bags, and you never want to keep your food in the tent because bears will smell that. And the danger to the human is not the bear coming, trying to get at you, it's trying to get at the food that it can smell. And they can smell incredibly well even from a long distance. So you don't want to attract bears. Most of the time, interactions are going to be when us humans, are out in bear habitat. And most of the time, if the bear knows you're there, bears are inherently afraid of humans, and those bears will, if possible, just skedaddle. They'll move out of your way. So in a lot of times you will have a bear encounter, but that bear has heard you because you were talking, or there was a little noise, or whatever it was, you're biking. Those bears will hear you, but because they heard you and they're generally speaking afraid of humans, they'll try to get out of your way. They'll try to move along, and quite often you won't even hear them. But when you do see them, you have things that increase your chance of things going well, which is stay calm. Don't yell or scream or run away. Do not run away. You want to slowly remove yourself from the location, not be looking directly at the bear. And quite often the bear will try to exit and go away by itself. Give yourself a few more minutes. If the bear is on the trail up ahead of you, well, let that bear move away. Give it an extra few minutes to hopefully move away from the trail. And once the bear has kind of left your very close zone, then you can make some noise so that it continues to hear you and knows where you are. And generally speaking, that bear will move away. If there's a wild berry patch, wild raspberries and so on, and blueberry patch, well, there's a chance that there is a bear, and so just make noise. If you want a bear if you suspect there could be bears in the area, well, make noise, make them aware that you're there. And so that way they know they don't get surprised, because quite often it's a bear being surprised that it gets a bit aggressive or defensive. And if there's a mama bear with cubs, well, you really want to be careful and let that mama get away from you. And if they do a fake charge, which can be quite startling, to be honest, the mama will run part of the distance towards you and then stop. They're trying to intimidate you to get away from them, and because they feel threatened for the cub. And if you have a dog on a leash, or hopefully on a leash, make sure that can make a bear become a bit aggressive, as a dog that's barking. Dogs don't really understand what a bear is, especially if they haven't seen them very much. So make sure your dog is on a leash, and hopefully you're able to get it to stop barking. But a dog off a leash may chase a bear, and that can be dangerous, because that then brings you into a difficult position of, do you defend the dog? Do you try to get in their way? What if they're actually physically attacking each other? That's the type of thing you just have to be careful about. Think about whether you're upwind or downwind from a bear, because if you're downwind, meaning the bear is over there, but the wind is coming from the bear towards you, it's harder for the bear to smell. So quite often you will go unnoticed, especially if you're not trampling and making lots of noise and talking. Quite often that bear won't even know you're there, because you're downwind from the bear. If you're upwind from the bear, that means the smells of you and whatever, that smell is drifting towards the bear. Well, in due course, the bear will know you're there because of your smells. And bears have an incredibly good sense of smell. This pamphlet here, whatever it is, says bears can smell food, whatever it is. Bears can smell food a kilometer away. That brings me on to another topic, documentation. Find out about bears and the risk in your environment. This is from Nova Scotia. So this is about black bears live near you. These ones I got, these are from here in Ontario, and great information. Learn about as much as you can. So this is about how to keep bears out of your neighborhood, and there's a similar one as what to do if you see a bear on your property or encounter a bear, and how to keep, a lot of this documentation is about keeping the bears out of your local habitat by not having garbage, compost, leaving food out, leaving food that attracts these bears, because there's a real difference between a wild bear and what we call a problem bear. A problem bear is a bear that has become desensitized to the humans because of the food that we humans keep leaving out for bears. And those are the ones that are the most dangerous, because they're like, I smell food, I want to eat that food. But there's this human, and so often the human can end up getting in the way of the bear trying to get at that food or that waste or that compost or whatever it is. So a lot of this documentation is simply about removing the things that attracts a bear to your cottage or your country home, or your residence in the rural areas. But you can end up being a victim of a problem bear that has been attracted by other bad habit campers and bad habit users who have been leaving garbage, and suddenly you're camping at that campsite, and that bear has become accustomed to there being food because people have been leaving food and so on. So make sure if you're camping, you're aware, and you probably exercise even more caution than when you're really camping in the deep bush. Because if you're camping in the deep woods in the forest, this type of setting, well, those bears are more wild, so they're even more afraid of you. But if you still leave food, they'll smell that food. And again, you've now become one of the reasons why that bear is a problem. Headphones, and when you're out in the bush, my feeling is never wear headphones or whatever it is to listen to music, because that's one of your ways of detecting a bear, is if you can hear it. When I did my bike trip up in the Arctic and then through Alaska and eventually down to Vancouver years ago, I saw a lot of black bears. But those black bears really skedaddled as soon as they heard me. But one of the bears I heard the most was, I was biking on a road and I suddenly heard this, and I was in the middle of nowhere. I was at least 100 kilometers from any village. And I looked over in the tall grass, and I guess maybe the bear had finally heard me, but it was only the bear's breathing that had made me aware of the fact that that bear was there, and it was only about 5 or 6 meters away off the side of the road. I can tell you my heart jumped a couple of beats, but I just kept slowly, very slowly biking away, and that bear didn't want to have anything to do with me. If you suspect that there are bears in your location, quite often you talking with someone or you singing, or you can make bears aware. There's a whole debate about bear bells. These bells that people used to attach to their pack or their waist that would sort of jingle constantly, whether or not that was good for alerting bears. And then there's debates of should you have bear spray, which is this canister of like pepper spray. It's like an industrial size can of pepper spray that can shoot it in different, either a narrow pattern or a wide pattern. And if the bear got to within a couple meters of you, you would then release that spray into their face. Don't pepper your own face, because you will not be a happy camper, and you'll be incapacitated for a period of time. But if you do use bear spray and you have it with you, be careful about. You certainly can't transport that by plane, and probably across borders. I don't know. You have to check. And so just be very careful, especially with kids. Make sure they're aware of what this thing is and not to play with it. And if you have bear spray, and you're in a high-risk bear area, make sure you have it with you. So it's not, the bear spray is not like 10 meters that way, and you're suddenly having an encounter with a black bear. So be careful. The most important thing to remember is the overwhelming majority of encounters with black bears are fine. The bear wants to get away from you and get out of that location. So give the bear time. Make sure you can hear the bear by not having headphones on, and be scanning. I was out for a long trail run yesterday, and I'm scanning. I'm just looking for a bear, either on the trail or in the bush off to the side, and that gives me time. The earlier I can see the bear and the sooner it can see me, the better the interaction, because that keeps that distance. And if I do see the bear, I will slowly walk away from where that spot is, and not looking directly at the bear, because a lot of animals get aggressive, or not aggressive, but don't like when they're feeling challenged by direct eye contact. So if you do see a bear, try to look off to the side and make yourself move away, and then give that bear a chance to move away from its path. If you ever were in extremely low chance to be attacked, you want to protect your neck, so curling into the ball, protecting the back of your neck. If sometimes there's a feeling that you should be fighting back if it really goes badly in terms of there being an active attack. Most of the times the bears are not trying to eat the people. They're probably trying to remove the threat to them. And so if there's the whole question of going into a bit of a ball, protecting the back of your neck, and fighting back if it ever comes to a full-blown attack, and fighting back with whatever you have, a branch, hiking pole, whatever it is you need to. But generally speaking, most encounters with black bears are very fine, and enjoy the woods. Talk it out with your kids and those in your hiking group, or your whoever it is you're out in the bush with, and make sure that people understand. So it's not just you being the owner of information and knowledge. It's talking it out, especially with kids. What do you want them to do? You don't want that kid to suddenly run back towards you, because bears will get excited by that, and they may charge after whoever is running. And so make sure you talk it out with your friends, your family, your kids, what your expectations are, and plan it out. Sort of pretend you could be pretending to be a bear, and have the kid reenact what you want them to do, which is walk away slowly without looking directly at the bear. That's the most important thing, because you want that child to instinctively know what to do. Well, I hope that's useful. Let me know in the comment section below if you've ever had a dangerous bear encounter, and like and subscribe, and click that like button. click the subscribe button, and there's a little bell. You can click that bell so you get notified whenever a new episode from Better Preparedness is released. Thanks a lot for watching Better Preparedness, and keep safe.